Hello friend, myself Sambhu and I would like to welcome all of you for this today's session and our today agenda is about Azure Virtual Network and short name is VNet, Azure VNet basically, and I would like to thanks all of you for watching this today video, and if you don't mind I would like to request all of you please subscribe my channel and please share your valuable feedback or comment in the comment section so that it will really help to me or it will really inspire to me create this kind of video. Okay, so don't want to waste your time, so I will jump to this today agenda. So first of all, I hope this session will help for them who are really interested to learn this Azure, basically Azure VNet. So I have created one PPT for that, so let's go to that one by one. So first we need to understand what is this VNet and why we need that. First of all, what is VNet? VNet is a virtual network, basically Azure providing us, and it's a private network. It's a private your own network, whatever application you want to deploy for your own business, either it's a VM, whatever VM I mean to say, whatever VM in Azure it used to call VM, and in AWS it used to call EC2. So whatever application you want to deploy in this cloud, so that if you want to specify any particular private network, basically this is like a network security. If you want to deploy in a private network, then you can choose this VNet app. VNet basically this virtual network. Basically it's a dedicated private cloud network system for your own application, so that it won't expose its own expose any other VNet. And if you want to communicate one your VNet to other VNet, that also one option we have, virtual network peering. Basically, with that also we can do. So I have created one diagram basically here for VNet virtual network, and in the inside this virtual network, what we can do, we can create basically different subnet, like either public subnet or it's a private subnet. And private subnet basically when we used basically all our database related stuff, if you want to deploy in cloud, that database related stuff basically we used to keep in that private cloud. And public cloud mostly we used to keep all our application like API app, whatever we have our for business logic app, that we used to keep in that public VM subnet basically. And VM all are in Azure, all instance basically used to call virtual machine basically. That's why short name I provided here VNet, VM. So in this dotted rectangle, basically my private network, and inside this I created two subnet. One is the public subnet, another one is the private subnet. And when we are creating this virtual network, that time it used to give some CIDR value basically. We need to choose some CIDR value. So here if you see I gave the CIDR value is the 10.0.0.16 basically. What does mean basically? It means like it will start from 10.0.0.02 10.0.255 to 55. That means I can create up to 65,536 IP address basically within this virtual network. Now I have created one public subnet. In this public subnet, what I gave CIDR value is 10.0.2.0./24. What does mean this? The starting range of this particular public subnet, whatever VM I will, this IP address basically these many IP address I can allocate in this particular subnet. What does mean is like if I launch any VM, for that VM I need to allocate some IP address. Basically either it's a public or it's a private. So for that IP address range, basically range can be 10.0.2.02 10.0.2.255. Basically up to 251 IP address I can allocate it in this particular subnet. And 5 IP address always is Azure any subnet, whenever you are launching any subnet, the five IP address, basically Azure is reserving their own purpose. Either it's like a network purpose, or maybe reserved for default gateway purpose, or maybe reserved for map Azure DNS IP purpose. There are five different purpose there, or maybe network broadcast address. They are these five address, basically they are reserved, they are holding, keeping for their own resource communication, and remaining 251 IP address you can use. That means 251 VM you can launch into this particular public subnet. Similarly, I have created one private subnet also. Here I gave the CIDR range is 10.0.1.0/24, and here range is 10.0.1.0 to 10.0.1.255. Here also same thing, since /24 means again I can create here up to 251, and 5 is the reserve for Azure. I will show you how we can calculate this one, this CIDR value. Here if you see my right side here, for this IPv4 32-bit, I have showing here how we can calculate. If it is a /24, then 32 minus 24 is 8. 8 means 2 to the power 8. Then how much it will come? It will come around it will come around 260, 260, how much? 260, 256. It will come 256. From this 256, if you deduct a 5, then it will be 251 for this particular subnet. Like this we can calculate minus 5 basically. For this also same, 16 I gave, right? 16 means 32 minus 16, then it will be 16, and 2 to the power 16 means it will come around 65,536. If it is a 28, we can give 28 also instead of 24. Then 28 means 32 minus 28, it will be 4. Then 2 to the power 4 minus 5. That those many VM we can launch in this particular subnet. Now this is a private subnet, this is a public subnet. Public subnet means it's a have the public IP address, and private subnet means they don't have, whatever VM we will launch here, it don't have any public IP address. All are having here private IP address. Now from the internet we cannot communicate this private subnet directly. There is no way to communicate directly in this private subnet. If you want, then we need this NAT gateway. Basically, this is a gateway. So I will come this part later. So let's come here first, public one. So here we have the public subnet. In this public subnet, whatever VM we are launching, all VM have one public IP address. That public IP address we can communicate from the internet. I mean to say, suppose you are launching one VM, right? While you are launching the VM, you choose some public IP address, then you are choosing like how you want to communicate. Either is a username password based, or it can be PEM file, either is a SSH basically. By using that you can access. So I will show you how we can create that SSH file also, and I will show you how we can create this VM. Now through load balancer basically I gave here. Why? Because if we have multiple VM, then load will be distribute accordingly, all this equally to this all the machine. So for that here load balancer. So client side whatever request will come to this public subnet, it will come through load balancer, and from the load balancer it will distribute that all the request to this all the VM, whatever VM I have here. Now this public subnet and this is the private subnet, right? Inside this virtual network, inside this private network, each subnet can communicate easily. From this public subnet, I can talk to private subnet. Suppose I did the SSH to this public subnet, and from this public subnet, I can connect to this private subnet also. But I cannot directly do the SSH to this particular private subnet. Now coming to the NAT gateway, what this is? This is like a here suppose we have multiple VM, and all VM is the private IP address. Now suppose you need this suppose this virtual network or this particular private subnet, whatever application is running, is required some outbound request, some other third party application or some other third party virtual network is suppose requirement is like this all this VM they want to connect or they want to communicate some other third party virtual network, and for that but here we are not allowed to do this communicate. Now we have that NAT, basically network gateway. Basically this is like a network address translation. Basically it will give you one public IP address, and we this by using this public IP address we can communicate outside the internet, and but we don't expose whatever private IP address we have here. We don't expose this private IP address to outside this VM out in the internet. What does mean? Basically I will give you example. Suppose in this VM some job is running, some business logic is running, and to complete this job or to complete this business logic is required to communicate in this third party application. Now here I have multiple VM for load for my auto scaling. I have multiple VM and all the VM have different private IP address, right? Now this third party application also they are also in a virtual network, and they don't allow directly to communicate from outside. They are not allowed to inbound. Now, if this private subnet, this all private VM, if they want to communicate this third-party application, now what I will do, I will integrate the NAT, one public IP address, basically public IP address, and that particular public IP address will be for it will be like whitelisted for this particular VM. So for the inbound, for this third-party VM, it's an inbound, and for my private subnet, it's an outbound. Why we need, suppose if for this third party application if I have 1,000 VM, for the 1,000 VM I have 1,000 different private IP address. That is not possible for them to make each and every IP address whitelist, right, for their inbound request third party application. But if we have the NAT, it's a single IP address, but that particular single IP address they will whitelist that IP address. Then by now my all this 1,000 VM can be outbound to this particular third party VM. So that one advantage, basically. Or one more advantage, what it is, like through this public internet you can connect to this private subnet VM also through the NAT gateway, basically. So that is one more advantage we have. Now I tell you cider value calculation. I tell you this whitelist funder, and these are the cyber, and why this 5 is IP is reserved. That also I tell you. So now I will show you in that UI portal, basically Azure portal. First, I will show you how we can create that SSH key if you want to access particular VM, right? Either it's a password based or it's SSH key. So I will search here SSH key. SSH. If you search here, you will get here one option. And if you click here, create. It's taking time, friends. It's a little bit slow. Yeah. If you see here, oh, my free trial is got disabled. Huh? It's got expired. Okay, no problem. Well, I can show you. I will not create anything. So this is the resource group. Under which resource group you want to create this SSH key, basically. This resource group is the one advantage here in Azure, like whatever resources like a VM or some key or maybe some storage account, maybe some AD, some app registration, whatever you have done inside this resource group. If you delete this resource group, entire everything will be in one shot, it will be deleted. So this is one good advantage, this resource group. Now I gave this resource group, I selected, I was already created this one. Now I can give that key value, that name of this key pair, basically, and it will generate. Either it's a generate if, or now if you review this one, very simple step. Information missing, some required information is missing, tag, basically. Basic, okay. This selection subset is disabled. Now I can't create because my free tier expire, basically. So this is the step. You need to select that your subscription, your container. If you don't have resource group, then create that resource group, then give the name, then tag review. Then if you want the tag, you can give or directly create. then it will generate for you one SSH key. I have already created one SSH key. If you see, by using this SSH key, I can connect that. I can communicate any virtual network. If you see here, while we are creating, right, SSH key, we can get. Now I can't create. Okay, so like that we can create the SSH key. Now I will show you virtual machine. So before going to the virtual machine, we need to create the this one NAT gate. NAT. I can't create friend anything here because I think my subscription goes expire. So I will show you all these things steps here. Again, you need to select your resource group. Then you need to give your NAT, suppose demo one, and that the timeout if you want you can give. Then here that particular name can we associate net gateway. So this IP address later also we can select. Now I don't have any public or private. So then next to subnet. Then I don't have any subnet. So we can select the subnet. Better to first create that this one virtual network. Okay, so create. Then again you need to select the resource group and then demo VNet suppose, and then the next IP address. Now for this VM, right, 10.0.0.60, this is the IP. This is the one I was showing here, right? I selected. That means like how many IP address, how many address we can utilize here. 65,000, 536. These many IP address we can use here, and all this virtual network one default subnet will be there, and we can create subnet also. Suppose public pub lic public, and then we can choose like here if you see my public is a 10.0.2. Or o high, then I can select like 10.0.2.0/24. Now if you see, I told you right, 5 is the reserve for this Azure, and 251 we can use 10.0.2.256. Up to this range we can utilize. Then if we don't have any NAT gateway now, it's not select. Then we can add simply. Then for private also same thing. PRI, VAT, private, SUB, NET, subnet. Then 10.0.2, okay, 1./24. Now add. Once this all done, the next security I will show you. This cider range security, no need to change anything. Then tag, if you want you can give your own tag. Suppose this is like a VNet demo. VNet demo, some value you can give, some who is the owner or anything, something like that you can give, and review. Now I can't create because this is got expired. Okay, so like this we can create this virtual network. Like that I showed you how we can create this one what you call SSH key. Now we have here this VM. I will show you how we can create the VM here. VIR virtual machine. If you go here, now we can create a virtual machine also here. Oh, it's all our URLs. Suppose demo VM1. This is my region, and here availability zone. Here total 4 availability: AZ1, AZ2, AZ3, AZ4. Like that we can availability zone we can categorize basically. Okay, and then standard. Then this is a free service eligible, and monthly charge is this one. Unavailable southern side of session is not available. Then how I was telling you, right, either is a public key or is a password based. If you public key if you have, then you can do through the public key. Either is a new or if you already created, right, I showed you how we can create, right. Then we can select that, we can put here, or if you have, like I have already one is there, so I can select that also, or we can select the password based. Either you can put username, suppose demo a ZU Azure VNet, something like that, and then you can give your own password, suppose some password you can give here. And with this password, what you can do, you can log in basically. Then confirm password, then you need to select, and that inbound port we need to, some port we need to uh, for this some port we need to for SSH basically. 22 is the default port. Then next for disk selection, here which type of disk you want you can select. Then networking, like networking means if you have any virtual network. Now I don't have any virtual network because my free tier got expired, so I'm not able to create. Just now I showed you, right, if once we created that virtual network we can select here. Then subnet default is the this one. If we have private public that I showed you, right, if this VM is belong to public, then we can select here public subnet. And then IP if you have, then basic, these all selection. Then we have here management, nothing we need to do in advance, so we no need to do anything here. Then tag, we can give some name here, then create reboot, like that we can create. Then once it's created, it will generate some public IP address, so we can directly either put putty or maybe mobile extreme, we can log in that particular this particular VM. But if it is a private, like I said, we can't. Then first we need to log in this public VM. Then from the public VM we can do, or if we enable this net through net also we can do. I hope, friend, this session really helped to all of you. And one more thing here, I have like virtual network peering, right? Suppose if you want, this is one virtual network and same set of virtual network we have in this cloud, right? If you want to communicate in between two different VNet, then we can do that peering basically. By virtual network peering, we can communicate in between two VNet. Okay, and inside this VNet, how many subnet we have, they can by default they can communicate each other, even though it's a private or it's a public. Okay, thanks friend for watching this. I hope this session will help to you. And again, I would like to request all of you, please subscribe my channel and share your valuable feedback so that it will really help to me. It will really inspire to me create this kind of video. Thanks.